Evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Oakland Mills Community Association Village Board. We're going to start with our two usual administrative items. The first is approval of the minutes from August 12th. Is there a motion to approve? I'll take a motion from Dr. Dan and a second from Andrew. Any discussion? Okay, Paulette, are you already voting against?
I don't think she knows she said no.
Okay.
Let's see a thumbs up.
I was gonna say, all in favor first? All right, I'm gonna take the thumbs up as Paulette saying yes, and that other thing is technical difficulties. Is that right, Paulette? All right, we're gonna say yes. Okay, next is approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Is there a motion to approve? I'll take another motion from Dr. Dan. I'll take a second from Andrew. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, 4-0-0. And despite Bill not being here yet, I will still say we are underway. Just let him know I said that. Okay, first up, resident remarks. Any residents wishing to make remarks to the board may do so. You have up to 3 minutes. And I know Paul had already emailed, so I'm going to call on you, Paul. Take it away.
Okay, I sent to both you and Bill a copy of a petition that we've got out there dealing with CB 59, which is coming up for a public hearing on the 15th. This bill deals with extending the aging in place tax credit. It was extended 3 years ago. A lot of people, including myself, are no longer getting it because it's been capped in the way of time, although there's no cap that is required. I mean, this is something that Howard County did. Deb Young said we should take the cap off. So she introduced this bill, and we put together a petition, which I sent to you. I can read through it, but I don't, unless you want me to, I can do that. We've gotten 312 people so far signing that petition. And we've got a couple more weeks before the testimony, so I'm assuming we'll get up to about 500 probably. I think it's in the best interest of OMCA to support this bill because we have so many people that have retired. You need a roof over your head, so we've stayed. I mean, I moved here in 1973 and I'm still in the same house. Did put an addition on because my family grew. So I'm asking that the board put together a resolution in support of this particular bill. What you do need to know is that the county executive has put in a counter bill, basically CB 60, which extends the aging in place tax credit for another 2 years. And I don't know why he did it, but the fact of the matter is if his bill is passed, then we're back at it in another 2 years, which doesn't make any sense to me. So that's kind of the background on this, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board has regarding this particular bill.
Any questions for Paul?
I don't actually see Bill, which do you have it in your consent or do you have it with you?
I'm sure I have it.
Whoops, we don't need that. I have the petition if I need to bring up the bill, so we can pull that up and send it around.
Well, at least
The petition is just about removing the 8-year limit. It's a change.org.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hey, Paul, at what age does the credit take effect for homeowners?
It's 65. However, it also includes the military. And there, if memory serves me right, there's no time requirement in the home for the military.
Okay,
And it also applies to surviving spouses of military folks that have retired in the county.
so CB, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to look at it over the weekend. So CB
59.
59 would remove that limit and therefore basically grant the credit for as long as someone 65 or over owns the home in Howard County.
Yeah, so long as they've been in their home for 30 years, that's
Yeah.
when the aging in place tax credit kicks in.
Okay. There it is.
Perfect.
All right, so at least 65 with living in the same dwelling for a certain number of years, or if retired armed forces 65 and older.
Correct.
Scroll a little bit.
Oh, the basic argument for extending it is the fact that spouses die, and the stats are that basically women are mostly affected as they get older. They have the longevity that men do not, and they outlive men by about 7 years. So you have a spouse who's survived her husband in most cases, and she probably does not have a pension. Her Social Security gets radically reduced, and it's probably even both the husband and wife had Social Security. When one dies, you only get the Social Security of the surviving spouse or 50% of your former spouse. So that's a real problem. And then as you get older, your health costs really go up. So, for a whole lot of reasons, this makes sense because our property taxes keep going up. And retirees, like anybody else, have to pay the piggyback income tax. So, there's a whole lot of reasons to do this.
So just confirming, Paul, your petition's main goal is to remove that 8-year cap on how long you can receive the credit. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're supporting CB 59, not CB 60.
Understand. Yeah, because it sounds like CB 60 just sort of kicks the can for another 2 years and then you're back at it again. So that seems.
All right. So it looks like the bill's going to be introduced on the 2nd. There will be testimony at a public hearing on the 15th, but of course, written testimony can basically be sent in at any time. And the vote will be on October 6th. Any feel for how the other 4 members of the council are leaning on this?
I believe that there's support from 3 members of the council. I think
Okay.
it will pass.
Okay.
And I really do hope it passes. I mean, I don't see the county executive vetoing that bill.
Mhm.
But you never know.
Right. Okay.
That seems good. All right.
Any other questions? All right, so Brigitte, as a next step, let's just distribute a copy of the bill to everyone as an email for reviewing and consideration so we can discuss at the next meeting, because fortunately, this is one where there's actually a next meeting before we
Okay,
have to do anything.
Yeah, I was, I know about your two-step that you use, and I said, this should work.
Yeah. Well, and even, obviously there's a deadline for live testimony, but given that the vote is not till October 6th, like I said, if we did any kind of a written feedback, I mean, we have even more time, even though we'd probably like to get it in, to be included with the testimony on the 15th. So we'll start working on it.
Okay, well, I appreciate the consideration. If you need any more information, by all means, send me an email or call.
All right. Thanks very much, Paul.
And I would like to attend the rest of your meeting, but I got a BWI roundtable meeting going on right now, so I'm gonna leave you.
Oh, no, that's perfectly fine because the weather's nice and I'd like to be able to sit out on my porch without earplugs. So, go to the BWI roundtable, please.
send, yeah.
Okay, have a good evening. Thank you.
All right, you too, Paul. Thank you. All right, I think that should be it for resident remarks because I know why you're here. And I don't see anyone else there. So we're gonna go right to new business and that's why you're here. We're gonna get our semi-annual, semi-regular, semi-something update on Blandair Park. So I'm not sure who's taking the lead on it tonight, but welcome.
The actual and the construction and all that. Jamie and I are here, Jamie runs our tournament business, which is huge business for Howard County. What was the economic, I think impact was like $64 million of tax revenue through our. Tournaments and different events. I know we've worked with the community and I appreciate I know the parking situation this year was rough. I think from our perspective, we didn't lose any events, but it's gonna be challenged through the fall and hopefully by next spring. Yep. So I'm here to address any concerns from the tournament business or anything as far as the usage of the park. I'll get into the actual construction and things that you're excited about.
Gotcha. Well, the only thing I can comment on that is just because since I reached out to you, I went around, I rode on my little bike and my little dirty tank top and I was talking to people about it. Just speaking with some residents and I got, mixed, some people, obviously the ones we got emails from were less interested in parking coming through the area. And then I had some that were just kind of like, it's a park. There's people that are going to be at the park. Obviously, the one that came up the most was the parking situation. And I know that you guys are in the process of building the next phase of Blandair where the skate park is, and there's, what is it, like 30, 40 more parking spots coming in with some of it? Something along those lines, maybe?
Yeah, sort of.
28, some number for that.
I have to recount it. I'm one of the three planners we have in the office. Jason Thompson is the planner that oversees this project for the most part. Filling in for him, he's helping some move into UMP today and tomorrow, so.
Perfect.
So yeah, there will be some additional park, actually it's 122. New parking
So we need
spaces
to-
that will be coming into this for.
I was gonna say, we need to aim the camera on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll trust you. You can put everything on camera.
kind of see it.
I'd have to probably really don't.
We appreciate it.
Again, 122 new parking spaces will be going in up here. Right now, they're starting to work on pouring the paving for the parking lot in the skate park. So those two is the current thing that the contractors are working on at the moment. Shortly after that, they will be doing the upper paving levels for the parking lot, as well as starting to look at paving the basketball court and the pickleball courts. The intent is for this all to be finished by April, early May of 2026. So yes, spring of 2026.
So it sounds like by the time that we have the next like big cycle of tournaments coming in,
Yeah,
versus which is the main thing that people are dealing with, yeah.
Yeah, our idea is to hopefully have this all wrapped up and taken care of and out of the way for the next big set of tournaments.
And we do have, October, end of October, November is a big month for tournaments as well.
Yep.
And then it's, June, almost every day, June right through August 1st. And, I would like to find, like, from the village, like, the businesses here, how much of an impact that do they see a big uptick those weeks when we have big events.
That was one thing that I had gone around and talked to, was I asked, because like I went around and I asked them, I was like, first I was like, where are you guys staying? Are you staying like any of the local hotels? A lot of them have told me, at least the ones who are coming in, that they were staying outside of like BWY.
There's not a hotel to be had in Howard County weekends. and events.
I know that was the problem, is I was trying to find a way if I could like see if they could go, because I know that they're building all this new stuff at like the mall area, and I was like, if they're staying at the mall, are we able to like get like Howard County to just do like a shuttle service from all the parking we have at the mall to Blandare? Because, maybe like a mile or two, but I didn't know if there was coordination to be had. Obviously, it sounds like there isn't any space, so BWI is cheap, so.
Work with tourism, a lot of them work with our tourism department, they do help work out deals and have, hotels that, deals that they work out for the local ones around here, like I know the one right over my garage is always full, for anything that's at Blandare. And the ones right off the 100 for Troy.
Cool, I'm just doing what I can, just trying to figure these things out. Because that was something that came up when I was talking with some of the residents. There was one resident who was very insistent on saying that the little air horns on the top of like the sirens were too loud, but that's just one person out of the 30 people that I talked to, so I don't know if you take everything.
Yeah, well, and I believe I know who you're talking about, we have tried to address, we changed the forms numerous times.
I live just like a few blocks away. I can't say that I hear it too much, but I don't live in the townhouses right behind it, so I'm sure it's a little different. But okay, one of the other ones that came up, at least with regard to not just like the new sort of sports area, was that the extended, like, the large playground area that's a little further to the to the west. Yeah, that one. Was that there were some of the, because I went up and down and I asked some of the neighbors who were out, and said they had some complaints about the overflow of people that were parking on that main street instead of just in the main parking area. So it was the classic situation of people just parking, leaving trash on the street.
I know we've done some extra fencing, and I know they put some signs up. And then, we're looking at across the street there where there was a future dog park in the plans, and like maybe putting some temporary parking there until we figure out what we are gonna do.
Is that for the temporary parking? Is that the one at the end of Time Spun Lane?
No,
That's the one.
yeah, that's when we just use that for staff and,
Times Square.
like a lot of our events are big recruiting tournaments, so you have a lot of college coaches that come in, so we use that one off the time street just for staff and, like college coaches and officials, because officials, you gotta have officials.
I understand completely. I did talk to some of them. They were like, they were brought up not a little club card and whatnot, so like they were free to chat. They seemed very nice about the whole thing.
And
just-
like I said, but the bigger, like what the future is just trying to make sure that we keep these events coming, because it is a good, it's good for the county to have these events. Some of our events have been on, ESPN and that kind of, that stuff, so it's good exposure for the county, but it's just nice to see, like, one of our tournaments last summer, I would say every Division I college coach was there, and just nice exposure for our area.
That is very good. You were mentioning about the local businesses, and I had talked to some of them here, and I didn't hear too much response from some of them about like increase or decrease based on that. But question is, when I went there, I saw there was like one or two. It was like a snowball truck. But is there any sort of coordination with these events to getting like local food trucks or related businesses to actually be on site for these things?
Yes.
Okay, good. That's basically.
We're right now in the process of revising our process a little bit, just to see how we can do a little better.
Just because I know there's at least one local, I forget the name of the truck, but I know I've seen it plenty of times. It just sits basically in the lot, like basically directly behind Blandare, just because the person lives in one of those townhouses. And my thought was, well, they just set it up and just have people walk down there for it. Obviously, I'm not in charge of food selling. I don't know anything about
But
that.
like, you have to go through a whole process, the health department, and, saying like, sometimes.
Of course, this person's like an actual licensed food person. I'm led to believe by the paint on the truck. But that was just my question. Is like if there was more involvement with getting like some of the local businesses to be able to cater to it, because we got a lot of people, and I gotta tell you, people that pay for lacrosse tournaments, they pay for things. Look, I played lacrosse once upon a time. Some of those parents got money. That's all I can say. So
And I know the banner's been up I think in the middle of July, I think Julian did email.
I think so,
Yeah, so it was, they were up for like a good portion of the event, so hopefully that'll continue, especially in the fall, with people seeing that and remember the businesses, so.
I'll keep riding around and encouraging them to do so, but.
I could probably ask a couple of our owners, like, they probably wouldn't be necessarily aware or remember that there's a tournament going on, but like, I'll bet if I asked Chris over at Pizza Man, you know, if I named a certain weekend, did you see an increase in business? He could probably look back and figure it out. But I think if I just said, hey, have you noticed the increase in business when there's a tournament? His first question would probably be, what are you talking about? What tournament?
We definitely want to try and promote the businesses right here.
Thank you. Yeah, that's much appreciated.
Can't argue with more business, cause I know.
Well, one thing I have noticed, at least this summer and so far as we kind of get into the fall season, is there seem to be fewer issues along Kilimanjaro. And I don't know if that's because people are being better about using the designated overflow parking, or just because the middle school field is not available for use, so no one wants to venture to Kilimanjaro, but
Showing that, I mean,
yeah,
not having games there this summer is definitely,
yeah,
which is a shame, because I think that was one of the best grass fields in the whole county, because no
It
one
was.
ever used it.
Yeah.
I agree.
it was.
If it's the middle school field, outside of the geese, it wasn't so bad. Having grown up on that field.
It was well
I think
fertilized.
It was definitely, you didn't want to slide tackle.
Yeah. Very well fertilized.
That middle school field, I've been practicing soccer there on and off for 52 years. And originally it was more dirt than grass, okay, and there were permanent ground goals there. Over the decades, the school system has done a fabulous job of tending that grass so it can be played on and taken care of. So whatever they do, you just copy that anywhere for rec and parks and you've got it, because it's fantastic
Yeah,
grass
the
field.
Problems, we have so much usage in that grass fields and, you know, it's just. I mean, turf has been, you know, godsend for field hockey and soccer and those types of sports, just because it's a truer surface, but we could never. With the amount of play that we get on our grass fields, it's just next to impossible to make it.
Yeah.
I got quite good.
I have a question, when you do have the additional parking, that additional spots. Are you still planning on using the area at the end of Time Sweep for the same purpose it's being used now?
I would say it's something we're gonna look at. I mean, we probably wouldn't do anything without speaking to you guys. It did seem like it did alleviate a lot of problems by taking that special area and having staff there and controlling it, like where the parents go is just. We can't really, I mean, not that we, I say we try to control, but. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, at least with the people that we put in there with our staff, the coaches and the officials. We have control over that, so we wouldn't, I don't think we'd ever open it like. General parking, like part of the plan. I don't know if, you know, I, from our perspective, it went pretty well, we had a staff person there, they manned it, there was no issues with you know, nothing got stolen, no cars got stuck in mud or anything, you know, we had no issues there from our perspective. And, you know, the two neighbors on the corner couldn't have been nicer, you know, they were very nice to our staff, it was kind of, you know, a good relationship, but I don't. If you guys get other complaints, we didn't get them. I'm sure you probably did, but we. You know, I thought it worked pretty well, but we're not, I don't know what this is gonna bring and how many more spots, cause. Even though we're picking up a lot of spots, that whole grass area was overflow parking. So we're probably gonna net lose some, you know, we're gonna have a net loss, but.
So looking at this plan, there's still a plan for some overflow parking to be next to the new parking area at least.
Yeah, is the basketball gym on that building?
No.
Okay.
Oh, that was basketball gym was going to be.
Yeah, it's in the master plan, I don't.
Okay, is there a place where I can
So
see
I-
the master plan, just because I looked up a little bit and I found like,
You have a.
It's online.
I might have found some on your website, that's where I originally found like the plan for Blandon or Mac got me like, oh, let's go with this, but that's a different question, I'll ask that.
Yeah, I would say it's not, I would fight the basketball gym for the obvious reasons of parking. Yeah, I mean, it's just a lot, but. You know, they built it and they had like one of the thoughts was, and this is. it'll be long after I retire, will be like a parking garages, some places maybe if we start, running into it. And when my daughter was in college, they played at Georgetown and they had this beautiful parking garage and on top was a beautiful turf field. That would be like ideal.
We've talked about that.
Yeah, you got all your parking underneath and you got your field on top. But like I said, right now, we have a lot of projects jamming for the next couple of years. I don't see, anything new right now.
see that being in the product.
Yeah.
For us in the near future.
So I don't know about. And that's the trail that connects it to like the back of like the.
Yeah.
Like the surface lot.
Timesweet is-
Sometimes it's gonna be like much further,
Wait,
sort of,
yeah.
back that way, but
Yeah.
I think I have an image of this somewhere.
So what's the access to the overflow? Does the topography allow for it to just come?
Just walk. I mean, we have a ramp there,
Yeah.
cars can
Okay.
come up.
Okay.
In the park. Now, like I said, this is all pre-construct, they totally. Took that whole area down, so I think we probably have to. Once it's finished construction, just look at if there's a different access or something.
I'm sure the grade is different than what it was on a paper versus the guy next door.
The current, like,
Yeah, I believe that you should be able to come down this aisle here and then come.
Yeah, I
right
saw
here.
that.
So this will have a curve, this will have the flush curve that allows you to ramp up and over and then come into that.
because now you come off the main parking lot.
Yeah, now you come off of here.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Cause here's my question for you, Jonathan, is, did we get any complaints before they got the sort of work had begun? Cause I've only been here for a few months, so I didn't know how much complaints we had about parking.
No, I mean, really, the complaints we got were the time sweep situation. Although I never heard any more from John Mayhew after we received the
I didn't
response.
either.
I sent him.
Maybe just knowing that it was for officials and staff and coaches was, maybe knowing it's not general public was
Sufficient.
okay enough.
Yeah, I
They
sent,
never really said anything.
I sent him a follow-up email that I would reach out and talk to them about it, and then I never had a response from him after that, so.
And
I was hoping to say
that lot would never be unattended. We've always had somebody working. there.
Yeah. And then the only other parking related complaint I've ever heard is there was a couple of events where the situation on and around Kilimanjaro got a little bit out of hand, where there were like cars literally like parked down the slope in front of the middle school next to the greeting sign and stuff like that. They were just
Interesting.
basically people were putting their cars anywhere they could fit a car.
Okay. Yeah,
But
definitely.
like I said, we do have staff that will address most of
Yeah.
those concerns, but. What I've learned is as many times as Jamie and myself or anyone says anything, people don't listen, but if a police officer writes a ticket or if a park ranger shows up. And all of a sudden, everything magically gets solved in about 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know like sometimes like our rangers don't want to write tickets, but I'm like.
Mhm.
That's your job, if you're, I'm saying, all you have to write is like 1 or 2 tickets and
Yeah.
kinda.
Yeah.
Word gets around.
Yeah.
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 Or just come out holding the ticket book and say, hey, everyone. And next thing you know, they.
High school usually has enough overflow parking and people don't realize how it's probably easier to walk through the path.
It's so close. Yeah, they just don't realize.
Places that
Yeah.
park.
I think that would be part of it, is maybe, like, cause there is signage that says the overflow goes to the high school, but that was added, I think it was added this year, wasn't it?
Interesting
was
thing
added
about that
this year.
signage.
Oh,
Have you looked closely at that signage?
I have not.
I think whoever was contracted to print that should have to reprint it. Because it says overflow parking available at capital O, lowercase a, K, LAND, capital M, lowercase I, capital L, capital L, capital S. Every sign looks like that, and has anyone else noticed that? My
No.
eyes
I don't
catch it
think I-
every time.
I don't think I ever see-
My family thinks I'm crazy because it draws my eye and they're like, why do you care so much? I'm like, it's something I can't unsee. Why would anyone do it like that?
I'll just go over there with a green paint
Yeah.
pen.
So I was gonna point that out because if there's any way of getting those things redone for, free of charge for that is strange. The permanent ones. Yeah, the ones with the bright yellow.
The poles, the yellow ones.
Oh, I thought those are permanent. I am talking about the ones that they added to the speed limit poles, like below the speed limit signs and.
That's not, thank goodness that's not us. but-
Oh, okay. Well, take a look at those.
Sign that we put out 1,000 times, I'm like, I must.
No, these are, no, I'm sorry, I consider those the permanent ones, because they're now
Okay.
bolted onto the poles, I wasn't sure who did it, but
Okay,
yeah.
that-
Take a look at those, and I'll be happy to take a picture and send it to highways and go, guys, come on.
Before the tournament, and then they're coming down, they're
Okay.
semi-permanent, so they were
Okay.
helped out. But we did send out the packets, I think we had shared them with you guys about where to park.
Yes.
A lot of people did follow that, a lot of people followed the directions on walking through, and then our tournament partners, most of them all have apps. And so like whenever there was any sort of parking issue that we noticed, they'd send it out to all the participants, and they go straight to their phones when they get the alert.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
we were very well on top of that.
Thank you.
Directing of where they needed to go, and a lot of our tournament partners were very good about sending all of that out weeks in advance, so.
so if you are in touch with highways about those other signs, my other recommendation would be that they come out and take some, black tape or something and cover the MS, because right now it says that the overflow is at the high school and the middle school. But the middle schools, those lots are gonna be off limits probably for a few years.
Because children want to.
It's open.
Yeah.
It's open, but it's a multi-year, they're basically.
Building.
building-
Down the other.
No, they're building a two-story addition, so that's what's going to the rear. So what's happening on the field now toward Kilimanjaro Road is that's gonna be the new bus loop. And then toward the rear, like where the current blacktop is, that's gonna be a two-story addition to the old school. When that gets built, they're gonna move students into that and then start gutting and redoing the existing building. So it's gonna go from I wanna say it's gonna go from a 500 seat school to is it 800 or 850?
I don't.
I think it's gonna go from a 500 to about an 800. I keep losing track of the numbers, so
They were tearing the one building down and building the
No.
new building.
no. They're gonna gut that building, so it's gonna be a multi-year project. I don't know exactly how long they're gonna say that the parking lots are off limits to you, but I would bet it's gonna be a while, because basically there's gonna be construction equipment and construction going on year round, not just when school's out of session.
So I know we did not access the middle school this summer, so. The most.
Yeah, it was questioning.
Okay.
So I was asked her.
You could double check that, yeah, there's probably not gonna be too much space.
Maybe they found a way. I mean, they were working over the weekend to ensure it could open Monday, because as of Saturday, they still had the loop fenced off and closed with equipment, and they were working all day Saturday. And then by Sunday, they actually had that loop open again. So maybe they will be able to confine everything they're doing to the field for right now, and the lot is available, but I'll bet it'll be maybe sporadic. It wouldn't surprise me.
Lots of construction timelines. You never know.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, do you know if there's any plans to do, like they did over at the East Columbia Library? The, solar canopies over any of the parking?
Yes.
Yes. I know that it's an expense, and right now,
I think what we're concerned with is the timing of it.
Hmm.
No, I know we're right in the process of that right now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how it's gonna turn out yet, we're still working it out. I'm pretty sure at some point there will be.
Okay,
My hope as a person that, in recreation and has things going on, that maybe we finish one project. Start another project that's gonna, but sometimes we don't have, sometimes. We have to do what we have to do. My preference would be finish what we got going on, and then, cause parking's already tight, so if you go in there and start this project,
Yeah.
it's gonna be more of a crunch one, and the one thing I will say at our county is like, we have a lot of active people, and like those fields really don't sit vacant.
right.
Maybe this week would probably be our last week, but even, it's not really ever. There's no downtime anymore. It used to
Yeah.
be soccer ended and basketball started, but now it's like, especially with the turf fields and the more mild winters, not last year, but the ones before, people were playing soccer all year round. So, the answer to your question is, I don't know.
Okay,
It's a long way to say that, but that's kind of, we're in the process. I know they would like to put the solar, like, it kind of like the community colleges have.
yeah,
Yeah, but I don't, like I said, I don't know. I would just hope we wait. I don't know.
okay.
Might depend on grant money too. If there is grant money for something,
Yeah.
changes the timing. Have you looked at balancing the intensity of use between north and south of 175?
I understand smoke's gonna be more passive, like, roads and play areas.
And
Historic-
the reason I ask that question is part of its topography might dictate what you can and can't do. But I'm looking at the issues of parking, et cetera, that if the intensity of use was more balanced between the north and the south, there'd probably be less parking issues, other issues. Now, people up north might not like that, but people in the south would probably like it. And that's what I was looking at. If topography doesn't dictate that, have a balance of intensity of use on the north side and the south side, as opposed to loading all the heavy use on the south and the very passive, less use on the north. And to me, that's less favorable than more of a balance personally.
Right now, the master plan for the north side has only a grass multi-purpose field that can accommodate a couple baseball diamonds. There aren't any real fields per se, especially not like there's on the south side of the board. One of the reasons for that is that was where all the forest conservation, all of the environmental stuff was pushed over to that side, and this side of this development. So there is some forest conservation easements and so forth on that side of the 175. The other thing we have over there is we've also got the historic district over there, which has an easement on, which is acres of that piece. So it was envisioned originally as being more of a passive recreation, having a nature center up on that side, and then only having really one big event kind of.
Because that's what I was looking at, is if topography didn't dictate back in the beginning, to me personally, I think it would have been better to balance the intensity of use north and south. You spread it out as opposed to put it all in the south, and all the burden that goes with it goes on those people around there. And the north side, hey, it's just like a park or forest, more or less, okay? And I was on the board 99 to 03 and testified about using side streets for access into the park, not to do that, et cetera, and looked at balancing usage. It's hard to argue against balance. Balance tends to be a nice word. Very few people argue against balance. It's when things are out of balance, that's when you tend to get complaints, et cetera. So my thought would be, going forward, if you can, look at balancing, okay? And I understand you've got forest preservation, et cetera, but forest preservation also could have happened some on the south originally. Okay, now we're pretty far back into it now, but there might be things that could be done to add a little more balance, and then parking issues wouldn't be as intense here, and there would be a few more up there, but not as many here. So you kind of spread the
I
load.
would say is most of the structures on that side are all, turf fields and turf baseball fields and tennis, like skate, like. I don't see any of that being torn up and shut, I mean, I don't know if that would be cost effective, But then when you say balance, that means that we would do the same exact thing on the other side.
Well, I was gonna say, if there is more active uses in future phases on the south, put a hold on those. Look at transferring those to the north and see if those could happen there.
I would just say it's just, be a big expense to tear up the turf baseball fields or not do the turf, those structures were pretty expensive to put it in place.
Oh, no, I'm not saying tearing up anything on the south. I'm saying going forward, if there are things planned for the south that would be an active use, suppose you want to put in basketball courts in the south, don't do it there. Find a place to put them up north.
except for the future basketball gym and maybe a, dog park, is that it?
There is a dog park in the basketball gym, but again,
Yeah, I don't think
there's, the
yeah,
basketball gym is, I think, questionable at this point.
Yes, I was gonna say, even those basketball, dog park, take them out of the plants in the south, put them in the plants up north.
You know, I would say it'd be like, when this was designed 10 years ago, there was, there's just things change and needs change and. I remember we were designing everything with roller hockey rinks for a while. Roller hockey's, no longer the thing.
Yes,
So I think we definitely will be flexible and I'm sure there'll be community input. They'll probably put the group that we had, not the same group, but the group when we first originally had these meetings, put like there, they kind of formed how we did it. But yeah, I would say that, we're looking at, it's not like the north side's not starting anytime soon.
No.
Next couple of years, so I think there definitely would be times that, administration will change and needs will change and. Then some of us will change, right?
yes.
So,
And a point, because I testified back in that, I still have the plans from 1999. And what was shown then for the ball fields that are near the townhouses now,
Yeah.
we testified for this was barriers between the townhouses and the active areas, berms, trees, etc. And those were in the plans then. I was off the board then, and after that, the plans changed and put the fields right up against the townhouses. And that's why there were so many complaints that had the initial plan gone through, there would have been much more of a physical barrier between the townhouses and the active uses areas. And that would have mitigated some of the complaints that the townhome people had.
If it's something. Maneuvering dirt or something, it's not my area of expertise, I think it came down to the site. Was more conducive and more affordable to do it that way.
And that's what I would call topography.
Yeah.
It's easier, but it's cheaper if we put it against the townhouses than if we put it where we want to. It's gonna cost more to put the berms up and the trees, etc. So we'll put it against townhouses. But then it creates a problem for those people and it affects the property values of those townhomes, etc. So those are the kinds of issues. And I know money's an issue always, all the time. So if in your considerations, you could look at those kinds of issues, we'd appreciate it a lot. And given past history with the townhomes there and with people at times we saying, hey, we don't want normal traffic heading in and out of Proctor. We get that. I've testified. Please don't do that. It would help a
I
lot.
remember the original basketball court was supposed to go at Time Street. That was the first design when we met, and it was gonna go there, and then when the community said, that's not gonna work, so then we moved that, and unfortunately, when that phase got cut, it took us, I don't know, 14 years to finally put the basketball courts in, because originally it was gonna go right where the overflow parking is, and that Time Street, there was gonna be some basketball courts there, we met with the community, and they're like, we don't want that, so we moved them.
We appreciate that a great deal. And I think it was Nick Mooneyhan with, what is it, Owen Brown Park?
East Columbia Park, yeah.
Yes, that did a great job of changing the plan based on resident input and came out with something that the residents really like and that Rec and Parks can really point to as a really nice local jewel for the people. That was
Yeah,
actually,
then there's a meeting on
is.
that, updated, concept plan,
yes. And yeah, and I talked with Nick months ago about that. I said, that's great, listening to the resident feedback, how it affects them, and it helps everybody buy into getting it done that way, which is really, really good. So we appreciate what, as you listen, and it isn't easy, but we appreciate it. Thank you.
I did have one question I was trying to sneak in there at one point. When we were talking about the parking issues, has there ever been any discussion about having a bus route that goes from the town center area, which is rapidly growing, as we know, they're always putting in developments every day, to any of the sort of more centralized park locations that we have in Howard County? Just because I know a lot of the people that are coming in, these are all, condos, they're highly dense, a lot of people don't have cars. I know someone who lives there, he works remote, and he just takes the bus everywhere, but so has there been any thought about putting in transit from the central, town center area to Bland Air?
I think there is, there are bus route from the does collect, I don't remember being next to the arcade, but I would think there's already bus routes.
Okay, I know I do know there are some of the existing ones. I was wondering if there was like a Belair specific.
I did think there's a bus, I know we used to have a bus stop there. And then-
Yeah.
I've never seen any buses.
I know there's buses that are constantly going in and out of there, that are RTA buses that are coming out into the town.
Cause that was something that I would think of, like, if there's involvement with the tournaments, and I know a lot of these tournament people don't wanna just get on a bus with all their equipment and all that, but. If it was a way to sort of, I don't know how to describe it, besides to encourage people to use the public transit that already exists, maybe there was some sort of. Deal that members over there could get to make it easier to use, but that seems like an easy way to alleviate some of the parking issues, if there's transit there and back at a convenient time.
Also, parking at Oakland Mills High School, walking through the woods is pretty easy too.
But I can try and convince him to do a lot of it. But like, you're not wrong. That would be definitely better. And improved signage with appropriately spelled bills could always help.
I have a pretty good, I'm 99% sure we can control our staff, I'm about
Yeah.
80% sure we can control the college coaches. 100% sure we can control the officials, so that's why we picked that group for the overflow. So rather than parents, we do the best job we can.
I understand sports parents. As a former coach, I understand sports parents quite a bit. And then like, I guess the final thing I had was you guys talked about Belair North and how like the timeline is, relative far future. My question with it is the current maintenance that I've seen going through there is they occasionally mow it every once in a while. Like I've ridden through there, I've seen the occasional person jogging through there. Is there any plan in like the short term, say the next 5 years, to change what that is?
There is actively work going on over on that side of the park.
Mhm.
Right now, we're in the process, we've just gotten a consultant underway to start the renovation plans for the mansion that's over there. Most of our work right now is over in the historic buildings
Yeah.
area. So we've got about a 5 to 10 year plan, depending on exactly how the costs and everything else come out for renovating the mansion to get that restored. We just this last Christmas time got a grant from the Maryland Historic Trust to help us out with restoring the duplex slave quarters that is sitting over there, so that can be fully restored. And we can start getting group tours of that and talk about its impact and everything else. I have plans on my desk that we're getting ready to we're put out an RFP for the reconstruction of the granary that's over there. And then we'll start working our way around some of the other buildings of the historic core. The eventual goal is for that to be restored to a working 1850s farm.
Okay.
So that would operate that. Now, again, one of the things is holding back the major use of that side of the park is access.
Yes.
Because we don't have the bridges going across 175, we don't have sort of permanent lanes and decel lanes and everything else to be able to get into and off there in a convenient way. It's really kind of kept that side from being developed too much. We have, however, on the other side, one of the things that we are doing with mowing, we are trying to keep the areas that were fields, because again, not wanting that to grow up and affect the forest conservation requirements that we had for both sides of that park. And we've also introduced a meadow program in there. So a lot of those fields are now being converted into meadows with, actually this past spring and summer flower beautifully with like I said.
They're gorgeous when I went through
everything, so. I mean, we're doing a great job of getting rid of the wisteria and stuff like that, that's been invasive and spot over. We are actively working with the site to try to improve and maintain the historic structure from getting back to something we can start to bring people to say.
Gotcha. So it does sound like the timeline is going to be improve the historic structures before the sort of passive recreation area gets developed. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, right now, we're taking as much advantage of the low to no traffic. I mean, as I said, occasionally someone is walking through there, there's a couple people that are definitely regulars going through there. But while we have low traffic up there, it's a perfect time to be able to go through and do our study of the historic section, do our restoration of that, get it all ready to go so we can actually bring.
Gotcha. And then final question, because I don't want to keep you guys forever. You mentioned bridge across 175. Is there a timeline plan on that at all? Or is that sort of put up when there's capital money for that?
That's unfortunately something that keeps, it's a state and.
Oh, it's a state one, okay.
County highways department between the two of them, and they keep pushing that down the road. So every year it's 5 years out.
Okay. Interesting. Alright, so, that's all the questions. Does anyone else have anything?
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Um. Jamie, unrelated to village business, but I might actually have a request to legally hang a banner in October, but I'll be in touch with you for that. Sorry about last spring.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Let us know and we'll get it over to the
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so
All
much.
right.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Okay, oh, next up is the board chair report. I don't believe I have much of anything right now to report. You had asked about the state of renovations, so obviously what's happening at the middle school is obvious. The high school is still not scheduled to start for a couple of years, according to the capital improvement plan, so it needs to stay in the plan. There needs, excuse me, there needs to be funding for that. Once the first year comes up, because the first year, just like with the middle school, is normally, planning, hiring, architecture firm, and all that fun stuff to draw everything up. So that's still a couple of years away. However, the high school itself, the building itself was under repairs all summer. So it was phase two of the HVAC repairs that started last summer. So last summer, my understanding was it was a lot of like electrical work, running wiring up in the ceilings, and then down, through the walls. So if you go through the high school now, you'll notice that I think in every room and in some of the halls, you'll see these digital sensors that have readouts for like the temperature and I think the CO2 concentration and the relative humidity. So they're monitoring everything to make sure things don't get out of range so that mold can't start growing again. And then my understanding is this summer, the work was more of the mechanical nature. So I think a lot of the ceiling tiles were down. My understanding is the building was a complete mess. That's also why the fall practices and band camp and things like that got off to a little bit of a later start. And even when it did start, for example, they were still working in the wing where the band room was, so the band room wasn't fully accessible to everyone as recently as the meet and greet events when I was hoping to get some materials but couldn't get to them. So, hopefully that work holds it over. Because, there was they waited so long that unfortunately there was that immediate need to put a decent amount of money in just to keep things going because they were having, mold and other issues regularly throughout the year. So, it sounded like there really wasn't a way of limping it along much longer, so they had to put money into it now, and hopefully, still they'll be putting money into it a couple of years from now. But that's the state of things. Got to meet the new principal briefly at the meet and greet. So I was talking a little bit about his history. So yeah, he immediately came from the Homewood School. He was the principal there. And before that, he was in the Baltimore County system at Woodlawn Middle and Woodlawn High on the west side of Baltimore County. I guess that also could have been an education report, but I just used it as my board chair report.
Mhm.
So
I was gonna say,
question
yeah.
before the meeting started.
Well, like, that
One.
covers it when we get to that point.
Exactly, yeah. I think that's everything I had. I think that's everything I've really been kind of working on. Thank you for getting our Bland Air friends here.
Yeah, that's, I'll get to that report.
Yeah.
But I'll let Brittany.
Any questions for me?
No,
All right, Brigida?
So you have most of my report in front of you. The auditors are officially done and should have a preliminary report the week of September 15th, which does delay our first quarter financials. And also we had to ask for an extension on filing our 990 because we need the auditors report prior to being able to file both of those items. And yeah, a lot of events as you see, we have going on. Amy's furiously working on the festival. We're about halfway with vendors, but they come in every day. And I think that's it. I felt like that. Oh, one thing that isn't on here, but I wanted to make sure everybody knew, CA has put out, it'll be in the e-news, but CA is having a town hall meeting on September 11th at Slayton House. And, you have to register to go, I'm guessing, because they want to get an idea of how many people will be there. I don't remember the exact time, but like I said, the information will be in the e-news. But I wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. And that's all, unless anybody has any questions.
Yeah, so.
All right. Andrew, any architecture news?
Not too much at all, but the first August meeting, Mike was out and Carrie subbed in for him, and she did a very good job, and especially considering that it was like the biggest meeting, that like the most number of applications that I've ever seen. There were like 19 applications, whereas normally we do half that in a meeting. So Carrie did a really good job. But other than that, there's not really any news at all. So yeah.
Great, thank you. Education, I kind of just covered. Bill, any open
Open
space
space?
news?
Yes, I have to get a date with you, Brigida, to hold a first meeting. And you said about a 6-week lead time is what you'd like?
If possible, I mean, we can work it out if it's less than that.
Okay, great. Because I'll try to set that up, if possible, second half of September, if not the first half of October.
Okay,
I got the note to give you the call.
okay.
And that's it for me.
All right. Doctor,
We already talked about all the stuff I've been trying to get in communication with for land air parks and whatnot. Only thing I can say after that is I'm gonna be reaching out to Howard County, the state of Maryland, as far as the crosswalk that Warren was originally trying to get put in
Oh,
across
right.
Red Branch Road. Everything I've done so far is just going down his agenda that he gave me to do in a meeting one day, and I went, yeah, I can do that, yeah. So that's next on his list of things. So I'll be hopefully coming to you at some point with an update about if they're ever gonna do anything with that. But I'm gonna reach out, might take some time, but that's what I have planned next to do. So I'll let you guys know when I get there.
all right, sounds good. Paulette, anything from the tenant committee?
No, still trying to follow up and get the tenants to respond about the problems that they're having. So that's about it.
That's the BGE thing?
No, the flooding thing.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we're out of committees. We're on to the
Okay.
bulletin board.
You can ask me first this time.
I was looking, I was
Because I
looking,
don't have
but
anything
you
and
don't
I
have
already thought
anything?
about it, so. now I
All
got
right.
it.
All right, I wasn't gonna call your name until I got like some affirmation. All right, Brigida?
No, I don't have anything.
I've got one thing, Vicky, if you can hear me, I'd like, if you could, to talk with Paul Thompson about the HOA infrastructure bill. Calvin sent us a letter in January outlining in detail all of the issues, et cetera, to deal with HOA infrastructure. And in that, he promised that there'd be updates in the future. So in July, I think it was, I emailed Paul Thompson, asked about any updates on that issue. and I did not get a response, so I sent another email in August to Paul and did not get a response. So could you please check with Paul about responding to that HOA infrastructure bill, where we are with that in the county? I'd appreciate it.
I sure will. I will let him know that you mentioned it tonight and that you would like to try to get an update on that. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right. To be more specific, because I was frantically trying to bring things up while I was talking out loud, this isn't really bulletin board. This is just backtracking. Oakland Mills High School renovation and addition pending funding would start fiscal 27 with occupancy September 2031.
Okay.
Oakland Mills Middle occupancy is September 2029, and that's obviously well underway. And there's no changes to that to date on the capital planning page for the school system. So there's on kind of a different schedule because of some legislation, but this is official. This is what it is right now. All right, on to you.
Thank you.
Okay, Andrew, anything bulletin board?
No bulletin board.
All right, Paulette, anything?
Nope, nothing.
Well, we just made up a heck of a lot of time and we're adjourned. Good night, everyone.
Night,
All right.
everybody.
That goes.
Good night.
It's funny.